here at Penthouse Riverside Wharf, and as you can see, we are setting up for an event, and I thought that it'd be a great opportunity to talk about setup. So you've planned everything, you have purchased, you have designed, and now it's time to actually set up your event. And this is a very, very important part. So I thought that we'd share some tips that we have from our 10 years of experience on how to successfully do your setup. So first of all, how long do you think it's going to take you to set up your event? Now take that and double it. This is your first or second time doing a big event like this. It's going to take you a lot of time. We've been doing this for 10 years plus, and we still like all the time we can get to set up. So make sure that you have plenty of time to load in, clean everything off, put the details, hang the balloons. You want enough time to do everything without rushing, and that way you can actually get the vision that you were going for. So the second tip is to make sure you actually have setup time. So a lot of times I see clients, they sign on the dotted line at a venue and they don't notice that they have an 8-hour allotted time. So let's say that the event is actually 5 hours. That only leaves them 3 hours for setup and breakdown. That isn't enough time. I mean, you need minimum 5 to 8 hours and even more than that if you can. So before signing with the venue, make sure you speak with the venue coordinator and that it says on the contract that you can be there from 5 in the morning, 7 in the morning. Just make sure that there's enough time already on that contract before you sign it. That way you're not surprised later when she says, oh, you can only come in 2 hours before your event, and you're like, there's no way I can set up this event in 2 hours. So that's something to look out for. The third tip is save yourself time. So the way you're going to save yourself time is by doing as much as you can beforehand. So some of the things that we like to do is, for example, place cards and escort cards. Alphabetize them. Already have that done. Put a rubber band around it. Done. Another thing is, if you're going to build any furniture, for example, there's some tables behind me that we got from Target. We already had those built so that we don't have to deal with that on the day of. Also, stickers. All the vases, candles, sometimes they come with little stickers on the bottom. That takes time. Have all the stickers removed, get your glue gun out, get all that sticky stuff out. Make sure that that is all ready to go. So anything that you can do beforehand to organize yourself so that that day you just have to basically move in and put things together. All of that stuff is going to save you a lot of time. My next tip is to know your freight elevator. Become one with your freight elevator. You have to make sure that everything that you planned for and designed is going to fit in there to make it up to your venue. So call the venue coordinator and ask them for the height, the width, and the depth. I can never say that word, depth, of the freight elevator. Now you're going to take those dimensions and you're going to email them to your vendors, especially your rental company, to make sure that on the day of, let's say you have a background, that it's going to fit into the elevator and make it up to your venue. The worst part, and I have seen this, is like, let's say a piece of furniture doesn't fit. Not only is it a bummer because you paid for that and you're not going to have it at your venue, but by the time they figure it out and they get it back out to the truck, that's taken an entire hour out of your setup time, and maybe you have other vendors with their trucks ready to go. And especially at hotels and loading docks, they are so strict. Sometimes you have to send them a whole list of every single truck, what time they're coming, the driver's number. You don't want any delays. So by setting everyone up, by sending them a map, this is where you're loading, this is the dimensions of the freight elevator, that is going to help you a ton. You want to make sure that your setup is successful. Make sure that you have one of these, a production kit. We have a video on everything that we have in our production kit, so go and watch that. And even if you're planning on only doing this one time, just have a mini version of it. You want to make sure that you have scissors, lighters, all the things that you're going to need so that you don't have to stop in the middle and run to the pharmacy or to the hardware store. So it's very, very important to have your production kit with you. Lastly, but I'm going to say most importantly, if this is your first time planning and producing a major event like your wedding is, I would recommend trying to find a venue that lets you set up the day before, for maybe for free, bonus, or maybe for a minimal fee. That is going to make a world of a difference. In this case, we were able to set up most of it yesterday, and then today, which the actual event is tonight, we're gonna do details, we're gonna bring in floral, things like that. So, I mean, it just makes us calm. It's gonna let you think. It's just gonna be. It's gonna make a world of difference. Trust me. So, when you're choosing venues, keep that in mind. Don't go for that great venue that gives you a couple hours before, because you're gonna go crazy and you're not gonna be able to actually do what you want in there. I would totally go for the venue that lets you set up the day before. You're gonna be able to do more. You're gonna be more relaxed, and it's just gonna be a better time overall. And on a side note, one of the great things about setting up the day before is that you can test your lights at night. I say it again and again and again. Lighting is so important. To me, it's even more important than flowers. Yes, I said it. So if you set up the day before, that means you can come in at night and you can actually test the lights. You can tweak it, you can dim it, you can add more, you can move your uplights around, you can move the pin spot. Those are things that once the guests come in, you cannot do. So if you have your venue the day before, you can set up to come in the night before with your lighting company and you can tweak everything. We did that here last night, and I know that everything is perfectly the way that I want it for tonight's event. And that is gold. So I hope that you enjoyed this video on setups, and I have to go because I have to continue decorating this place for tonight's event. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments. We absolutely love to hear from you, and we take the ideas from your questions to create more videos and teach more. We've been doing this for such a long time. We love producing events, but I personally love teaching about them. And I want you to plan your event like a professional and continue to celebrate constantly. Bye.